So doing my own due diligence on the operator, prior deals, and how they're looking at deals is key. Education is really a lot of value into it as well. I have to make sure I educate myself on what they're looking at.
Welcome to Multifamily Insights. I'm your host, John Casman, and I want to thank you for joining us for another great episode. If you are getting some great value from this show, leave us a rating and review. It helps us learn what's working for you, but also other listeners can figure out how this show can help them on their own investing journey. And if this is your first time listening or you haven't done it for some reason, be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. We've got a great show today. We're going to be talking to Alex Tam. They say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you want to grow as a multifamily investor, you have to spend more time with other multifamily investors. And an easy way to do that is to join our apartment investing mastermind group today. Just go to casmancapital.com and click on the mastermind button. Now, as a part of this group, you'll get access to expert trainings, group coaching calls, industry news and updates, as well as all of our webinars and workshops, including our 3-hour workshop on raising capital. Again, if you want to be around other multifamily investors that can help you scale your portfolio today and grow your network, make sure you're a part of the Apartment Investing Mastermind. Just go to casmancapital.com and click on the Mastermind button today. Alex Tam is an entrepreneur, real estate investor, husband, father, chiropractor, and the clinical director of an integrative medical practice with over 15 years of experience. Now, he started by launching his own medical office back in 2009 with the mission to alleviate the pain his mother was experiencing. And then since then, back in 2018, he wanted to learn more about new strategies, social media, and he attended a conference that really helped him learn more about real estate investing. Let's welcome to the show, Alex Tam.
Hey, John, thank you so much for having me on the show, brother. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely, Alex. Great to have you on. You are the guy behind Zephyr Equity Group as well. I went over your bio at a very, very high level. Why don't you take 2 minutes and fill in some of those gaps?
Yeah, I mean, I started as a passive investor. I went to a seminar. After going to a seminar, I started looking at, oh, what is a syndication? I didn't even know what a syndication was at the beginning. And eventually, my wife and I looked into it, and we had a rental at the time. And it seems like the syndication can get us 4 times the returns that our rental was getting us in a single family. And I thought, not only does it get us 4 times the returns, but at the same time, I don't have to do a lot of work. That was unreal to me, right? I thought that as a investor, you had to go in, put in the time and grind and all of that, but it turned out that wasn't true. So we started investing in 2018, and then in 2021, enough other doctors were asking us what we were doing. So we joined a mastermind and started doing active deals, became GPs in a few deals, and then eventually started doing JVs. And here we are, multiple deals later in 22, 23, and we're, I think, 3 deals in on 2024.
I love it. Alex, you talked about your background in the medical field,
Yeah.
really starting off as a passive investor before transitioning to the active side as a general partner, and then also doing some JV deals. You said a couple things that really jump out to me. One, realizing that from the rental you had, when you started looking into syndication deals, you
Mhm.
realized you could 4x your returns. And
Right.
that was mind blowing to you. So when you were investing in those rentals, like what was your investing strategy? Like what were you doing at that point?
Yeah, the investment strategy on the rentals, we didn't really know a lot, was just buy and then rent it out. And you hope that the renter's fee
Yep.
covers your mortgage. So we were getting maybe about $100 in rental income on cash flow every single month. But that was putting almost $100,000 down. It's like $95,000 down on a house, and was only getting about $100. So we're looking at what, like 1%, maybe even a little less, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we sold it after a year, got the appreciation, and started putting that in multifamily, and it's been great since.
I think that's one of the things that gets overlooked, right? And what you're talking about is you really didn't know how to invest in real estate.
Right.
So, like many people, you read books or you hear people talk about, oh, you should invest in real estate, and you're like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go buy a piece of property. And the
Okay.
the strategy you described was a buy, rent, hope strategy, right? We've heard of the BRRRR strategy. This was a buy, rent, hope. You hope it goes up in value. You hope that you're getting enough cash flow to cover all your bills, but you really didn't understand how to properly analyze these deals at that time, right? You put down $100,000 or close to $100,000 and you're only making $100 a month, right? Not really a
Yeah.
great return on your investment. You could have, socked that away in a savings account somewhere and crushed that return just on that. But then when you learn about syndications, that helped you understand that, okay, one, there's other people that have more experience and knowledge. So instead of you trying to be the expert out of the gate on your very first investment, why don't you partner with somebody else who has that track record, has the experience, knows where to invest, how to invest, what to look for, can find a cash flowing deal, can drive up and force appreciation in the value of the property. And you don't have to do the work. You don't have to be the
Right.
landlord. You don't have to rent it out. You don't have to do the repairs and maintenance. And that was the strategy you went down. And I think it's really important to get into because so many people get in the way you got in, not realizing that you can invest passively, learn, and then if you want to be active, you can be active, right? But why take
Right.
on additional risk when you really don't, you know, the least amount on your first deal, right? And for you to do that first deal yourself, you probably look back and say, wow, I can't believe we invested that much money to make a 1% return or 1.2% return, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
wow, we should have been way better at investing. So it's a really great point and insight for people. I know a lot of people want to go at it on their own and just learn and figure it out, but that's a very costly approach, and you didn't lose money, which is great, but the opportunity cost of what you could have done with that money is something
Right.
that you can still play on. Let's talk about that transition, right? So you hear about syndications, you learn about it. What was your process to decide and evaluate if that was right for you?
I was at a Grant Cardone conference when I first learned about it, and the process was really easy. You pointed out the facts. There is number one, there's appreciation, like you mentioned, the forced appreciation. The cash flow is there. The tax benefits are there, and I didn't have to do it, right? So when you put all of that together, it's a win-win strategy. For me, it just makes sense. And when the numbers make sense, the value makes sense, and in the long run, I looked at, well, if I want to do this in the long run, what's going to make more sense? Me buying one home at a time, right? Renting it out and hope that it covers mortgage? Or do I trust and verify somebody else who's already doing it with different syndicators? And that's the route I went. As a business owner, a lot of times you have to make decisions pretty quickly, but you do have to trust and verify everything as well. So doing my own due diligence on the operator, prior deals, and how they're looking at deals is key. Education is really a lot of value into it as well. I have to make sure I educate myself on what they're looking at, right? But at the beginning, it was kind of a, hey, you hope that the syndicator and you hope the sponsor's doing it right. But once we figured it out, we just went all in and have invested in multiple deals for those 4 years. And really, that's where a lot of it is.
Yeah, I love to say that hope is not a strategy. And unfortunately, it's the strategy a lot of people leverage today. And you got
Yeah.
to make sure we're focusing on that education. You talked about really making that transition to learn about the operator, vetting them, asking more questions, understanding their track record, and then
Right.
deciding to move forward. And I think it sometimes get overlooked, but you made a decision, right? You made a decision
Hmm.
to make that first investment. And if you didn't make that first investment, maybe it's harder to make the decision to invest passively. But because you did that, you can learn what worked, what you didn't like. When the syndication opportunity came along, you realize, oh, okay, there are things that are better than what I've already done.
Yeah.
And there are things that I don't have to do. So this is actually a win-win situation. So you decided to invest in syndications. As you were going through your due diligence process, as you look
Hmm.
back and reflect and think about maybe other people who have invested passively, what's one or two things you would make sure you ask or you verify before investing passively with an operator?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say the first thing you need to look at is how are their past deals doing, right? The deals that they've done, the last 3 to 5 deals, how are they been doing? Have they exited on these deals? But then you also have to look at the market cycle as well, right? Between 2016 all the way to about 2021, you could throw $1 in and within 2 to 4 years and get like $2 to $3 back. So everything was going up during that time. So you have to understand the market cycle at the same time, because even if you see people operating well during the good times, have they been long enough to understand what the bad times are as well? Do they have people on their team who has been through the '08 2000 market cycle, right? Maybe not in multifamily, but in business in general, right? And then the other thing is you'll talk to other people who have invested with them, who are investing with them, and get their feedback. Hey, how's their communication? When you reach out to them, do they reach back? Do they take more than a week to reach back? Or are they reaching back the same day? Right? And that's important. So a lot of it is that type of due diligence, figuring out what previous experiences people have had, and now finding out what the sponsors' current properties and past properties, how are they doing? You know, that's a good part of it. And be able to ask questions, know what questions to ask. If someone's telling you, hey, rent's going to go up 15% year over year in the next 3 years, you better find out how they came up with that number, right? Is asking them to verify, hey, how do you justify that? Or help me explain this, or help me understand that. You see, it's knowing the right questions to ask is key.
Yeah, great stuff. You said one, understanding their track record, right? Taking a look at the past deals, but also recognizing that there was a time period, maybe from, 2016 to 2021 or so, where almost every deal did well. So don't lean too heavily into the track record. It's great to see it, right? You want to know that they have that experience, but
Right,
on the same note, recognize there's a time period where very few people had deals that didn't pan out. What also is important though is seeing how their current deals, their last 3 to 5 deals, how are those deals performing? Make sure you understand where they're at, what's going on, and any lessons learned from those deals. You also talked about their experience. Where were they at during the last economic downturn? Were they in multifamily? If not, were they in business? Like, were they a part of that cycle? Because you have some folks
right.
who did not experience it and maybe are overly optimistic because they haven't seen the downside. I was in the automotive industry at that point, so I saw it firsthand every single day and lived it. So I
Yeah,
completely understand where you're coming from. The last thing you talked about was really understanding the investor relation experience. What's their communication like? How often do they get back to you? How easy are they to reach to? Do they have reviews? Do they have referrals? Making sure you can really understand what to expect if you invest with these operators. And that's important because some people are looking to learn and want to be able to reach out to that operator and ask questions and understand, how did you make this decision, or what does this mean?
right.
And some operators have no desire to teach and educate. And there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it. It's just you want to know if this is a teaching hospital or not. I mean, if it's a place where, hey, write your check. I'll make sure you get your distributions. I'm going to send, an update when we're ready to give an update. And that's it. Don't bother me. Don't bug me after that. You probably want to know that before you invest with that operator, right? Because even if they deliver and you make good money, you may not feel like you had a good experience working with them. Maybe you're not further along in the education where your confidence is there, where you know what to look for, what questions to ask on future deals. So make sure you kind of understand what to expect from a communication standpoint as well. The last thing you said, though, was knowing how to ask better questions. And that's a
mhm.
challenge, I think, for newer investors. Can you talk about how you sharpen your skills to learn how to ask better questions and to listen for the right answers?
Yeah. Part of it is a lot of the experiences you hear about from podcasts like yours, right? Where people come on and they share their experience and you take note of it. Oh, dang, this happened. Maybe I need to look out for that, right? And if you look at, okay, how are they going to mitigate the risks? All right. Maybe the last couple of years, the talk has been interest rates. Are these people on a floating debt? Hey, we got a 2 year bridge and then we'll see what happens. Or is it a
Hope. We
yeah,
have that
hope.
hope strategy
Is
again.
it a 2 year IO with another 5 year locked in on these rates? And it's like, hey, we got 7 years locked in. Our exit is at 5 years. And after 5 years, there's no step down, right? People have to understand what a step down is. Is it a 3-2-1, 1-1-1, right? Really, it's if they were to exit early, is there a penalty? Is there a huge fee? What will happen if rents don't go up? Maybe they have a brand new facility that they're building and they're expecting it to be built next year. And oh, yeah, everybody's going to raise their rents about 10% next year. What if that doesn't happen? Does the deal go south? Right? What if that doesn't happen before IO is done? And now you got to pay interest and principal. Can the current mortgage support that? Or are we going to go negative? Right? Who is the backup property management? If they're not vertically integrated, which means that they have in house property management, who's that third party? How many other third parties do they have? Have they built relationships with them? Right? Maybe they're doing CapEx. You see, what would happen if CapEx prices, like in the last couple of years, go up by 10, 15, 20%, right? So you have to understand the what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happens? And can the operator have they played it out in their head numerically what could potentially happen and how they plan to mitigate that, right? We recently evaluated a deal where it was 23% IRR. Okay. And that's a conservative number, best case scenario between 25 and 26. And I asked him, I said, what if this, and this doesn't happen? Worst case scenario, what would happen? Worst case scenario, rents don't go up. We've got our IO locked in and interest and everything else, finance locked in. Worst case scenario, it's about 12 to 13% IRR. Worst case. I see the short of a natural disaster and whatnot. I said, okay. I said, you guys crunched it. We talked about it. I looked at their numbers and it makes sense. So you got to just know where it's like if you know where the landmines are and you got to ask, how are we jumping over those? Right? Then if they can answer it and it makes sense to you, then hopefully it's a go.
Yeah, and I like to say too, like, I think sometimes people hear a conversation like this and they are ready to go with a million questions. And asking great poignant questions is important. And I certainly encourage you to do that with any operator you're looking to invest with. However, the most important thing is for you to decide if that operator is the right person to
Right.
invest with, the right company to invest with. And the questions you're getting at is simply, have these individuals vetted this deal thoroughly? Have they understood the various things that can happen? And are they equipped and prepared to handle whatever life throws at us? You want to bet on someone who is going to be able to navigate whatever happens at this property. And asking some of these questions is just your way to see that, okay, they have thought through this, they have a plan. And also, you recognize where the risks are. Every deal
Mhm.
has risk. There's not a single deal that does not have risk. However, you want to be able to mitigate those risks as much as possible and then get a sense of probability. Okay, how likely is that to happen? And if you can mitigate that, that's going to make you more comfortable. So ask questions, but what I really want you to focus on is figuring out, is this group the right group to invest with? Do they have the experience, the knowledge, the aptitude to figure out and navigate whatever may happen at this property? That's who you want to be in bed with when you come to these investment deals. So great stuff there, Alex. You made that transition, right? You start off as the LP investors we've talked about. You
Mhm.
started then moving to being a general partner and kind of a JV partner. Talk to me about that transition on your side.
So that transition mainly happened after I got into a mastermind and got the education. And the reason why that happened, John, was because a lot of my friends were asking me what I was doing in terms of investing. They wanted to get a better understanding. And I personally did not feel like I was qualified enough to share with them what I was doing, except for sending them to the website, right? Hey, I invested with this company. Let me send it to you, send you to that website. And then the next time I see them at a conference, they'll ask me again, right? Almost the same question. I say, hey, didn't you contact them? And what happened there? They're like, well, no, I didn't really do that. And da 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 da. So eventually I said, okay, if I'm going to talk about this, I need to know what the heck I am talking about, right? So that's when I got educated. I joined a mastermind, and the key is I need to stay up to date with what's happening out there if I'm going to tell people about it. And then eventually we started getting into deals that we work with people that were in their mastermind, right? And we realized, wow, not only is there as an LP, you could be a GP. What kind of skill sets can I bring in to the table, right? It's not just capital. Is it leadership, management? Do you help out with asset management? Can we do marketing, right? One of the strong suits I brought value in is because I run a VA company where we help business owners find VAs. I myself have about 12 full-time VAs that work for me. We come in with a lot of experience on how to streamline certain processes where it doesn't require someone to physically be there, right? And I'm really good at thinking about the processes of a business and how to place a VA for that. So whenever we have a apartment that we take over, multifamily, we look at, okay, can they help out with leasing? Can they help out with bookkeeping? Can they help out with marketing? Can the VAs do that? So that's where we like to add a lot of value on top of the asset management side.
Yeah, man, I love you talking about that transition because it's powerful, right? And what you mentioned was, and this may have been subtle, so I want to make sure I pull this out. You said you were investing passively, and this kind of comes up in conversations with some friends, right? Other doctors and other people. What are you
Mhm.
doing? And oh, how's that going? Oh, just invest in this deal. Oh man, tell me more. And you weren't the expert. You didn't feel like you had enough information to really teach them or educate them.
Right.
So you just sent them the website. Oh, well, here's the group I invested with. Go check out their website, right? Fast forward, you see them a year later. Hey man, what's going on with that real estate? Can you tell me more? It's like, yeah, didn't you check out the website I sent you? No, no, no. They want a trusted advisor. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I found when I was at that stage is, I would tell people what I was doing. I was, building up my own personal portfolio. We started
Right.
with a house hack. We bought a 3-unit property. We bought an 8-unit property. And my friends would see this, right? Because we're talking about what we're doing. They're coming to the properties and they were interested, right? They were curious. They wanted to
Yes.
invest. They wanted to learn. They wanted to make money. And I was trying to tell them how to do what I was doing.
Mhm.
None of them wanted to do that, right? And this is true for anyone listening to this podcast. Your friends and family do not necessarily want to invest the time and energy that you've committed to learn how to be a successful real estate investor. But
Right.
they do want the benefits, they want the perks. And what they see is a trusted advisor in you. And that is why so many people like myself, like you, Alex, you go and say, okay, how can I actually help these people better? Like, I need to double down on my education so I can be a trusted advisor, so I can become the quote unquote expert, so I do feel more comfortable giving direction and helping out these people who are closest to me. And if you are ever considering being more hands on, being a general partner, raising capital, I think it's important for people to consider doing it because if you're doing well, again, in your case as an LP, you're doing well, you're making money, you're getting more passive income, you probably have more flexibility with what you want to do with your career. These are the friends and people that you've been working with. And if you just show up one day and like, hey guys, I'm out, that real estate thing worked out excellent. And they're like, dude, I could have been on the same track with you if you would have just helped me, right? And you telling them is one thing, you creating opportunities for them is something else. So I applaud you for doing that on your end and want our listeners to understand that it's okay to want to create these opportunities for other people. You just have to focus on your education. Joining a mastermind is a great idea. I know
Right.
you joined a mastermind. We have our own mastermind. That's a great way to surround yourself with other people. partially because you get opportunities to connect and also have investment opportunities with other people in the mastermind. So that was something that was paramount for you and your growth. Talk to me real quick about just where the portfolio sits today and what types of assets do you go after?
I would say today we're at about 300 units that we have JV'd in and that we are GPs in. You know, I don't usually count the ones that I've LP'd in, right? Because those are really passive. And, in terms of that, that is, it took work to get to where that is, right? People think, oh, a few hundred units, that must be cool and whatnot. But it takes a lot of work to do it because you're actively doing it now, right? You're talking about investor relationships. You're talking about managing the asset. We're closing on a deal today as we speak right now. So my phone, the texts are going off, right? To make sure that the deal gets done. We're scheduling the notary and all of that. So it takes a lot, but at the same time, one of my goals were having real estate, the income from real estate, cover our living expenses, right? And the great thing is when we were able to achieve that, it actually lifted a huge weight off our shoulders in terms of finances. Now, do I love what I do as a doctor? Love it. Absolutely love it. And it's a mind shift when you don't have to do it, you get to do it. And that was always our mindset is that I get to do these things. But now we really just get to do it because depending on no matter how well other businesses do in our virtual assistant business, the office, I know that real estate is going to take care of my family, right? If something were to happen to me, this is like the best life insurance plan I could ever have bought, right? And it's definitely been a great journey and it's continuing to grow because we're continuing to have partnerships and create new opportunities. And the friendships that comes with it is just phenomenal. It's something that in real estate, you can do it on your own, but when you do it with other people, it's just a lot more fun,
I love it.
right?
Alex, you're spot on, man. Just great stuff talking about the passive income, the freedom it provides, but also a sense of gratitude, right? You get to do your day job. Like you don't have to now. You have enough income to step away, but you get to do it. So you enjoy that work. And I think that's really powerful and empowering to be in that position. So I appreciate you sharing that. Hey, real quick, talk to us about your buy box. Like what kind of deals do you look at? What's your criteria? Tell us more there.
Yeah, our buy box is if we're looking at JVs, we're usually between about 20 to 50 units. And then when it's a syndication, it's going to be 50 units to maybe about 150 to 200 units up there. And that's usually where our buy box is, right? Um, those deals are a little easier to come by right now with the institutions picking up the ones that are in the 3 to 400 units
Yeah.
right now. So before, I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't touch anything under 200 units and whatnot. There's people that talk about that. And even those people now are looking at 30, 40, 50 units themselves because they realize, well, if it works, it works, right? If you have great management in place, it's going to work out, right? Why do you have to go after and fight with institutional money and go with those super big deals right now? And ultimately, here's a big thing. What I didn't know that I know now is the importance of property management. See, when I first started, I didn't even look at property management. I look at property management. Oh, it's so boring. Who ever thinks about property management? That is the one thing you need to make sure you look at. you know, how to manage that property, right? Buying is easy. It's managing it and exiting. People always talk about, oh, we bought this. Well, if you put enough money down, you could buy it. Buying is the easy part, is managing it, right? You have a great operator, they can take a crappy, underperforming product and make it phenomenal. You have a crappy operator, you can buy a class A, everything stabilized and whatnot, and they'll run it to the ground. So it really makes a huge difference.
You got
property
to be able to
management.
execute, right? I mean, going back to where we started the conversation on being an LP, understand the track record, understand the business plan, and don't use hope as a strategy, right? Make sure you got the right team in place to
Right,
execute. I love it,
right.
man. I love it. Well, listen, if you want to learn more about Alex and his company, you can go to zephyrequitygroup.com and check out more information there. Alex, we're going to transition to a round of insights. Give me a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
Um, Property management. The reason why I went back to that is because one of our properties, we're on our fourth property management, and that's within less than a year, maybe less than 2 years. Fourth property management company, and it's doing great now. But have we done and did better vetting of property management in the area? We would have known more, right? On about the communication. A lot of it is kind of as you go, you learn more. And then when one property management fail, you bring, okay, what you've learned to the next one, right? So I would say that being able to vet property management companies and knowing how to communicate with them is one of the key things. And that's one learning experience. Another learning experience is you got to be able to vet these operators. One of the operators that I've worked with, and it was a JV deal, the main operator who found the deal, there were some red flags that came up in their history when we dug up some stuff, and we talked to them about it. They explained it, but eventually, when things didn't go as well, those red flag problems kind of came up again, right? And it's like, hey, you got to listen to your intuition, your heart, and if red flags come up, just don't do it. I'd rather have no deal than a bad deal, right? So those are a couple lessons learned.
My stepmother said to me as a kid, and it's one of the best things she ever told me. She said, "When people show you who they are, believe them." So there you
Right.
go. Love it, love it. Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for your business.
A digital or mobile resource. Now, a lot of people have recently asked me about CRMs. And in my own business in the medical space, since 2015, 2016, we've been using High Level as our CRM of choice, right? I mean, there's a lot out there, right? HubSpot, Zoho, and whatnot. But we've utilized High Level from the get-go, and it's been phenomenal for us. So that's a huge digital resource.
Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
The one that we've gifted the most in I'll say the last 5 years, it was the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by John Maxwell. And that's what we gifted the most in the last 5 years. In the last 2 years, it's Who Not How, right? The Dan Sullivan book.
Two excellent books.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals?
Well, things that really help me out, that keeps me on track on a regular basis, is you got to have a set of KPIs that you're on a regular basis, at least on a weekly, that you're looking at, right? Among business, you got your business KPIs, you got to make sure you do your books, and you got your financial KPIs done. I focus on three things: business, health, and family, right? You have to time block all these things, especially with family and especially with your health, whether it's workouts and whatnot. Business will always happen, but the reason why we're in business is because of our family. And if you don't take care of your health, you wouldn't have an opportunity to do either one. So I prioritize family time and my health, and business is a very close, but it's third in my line of importance, right? So that's how I prioritize things.
Give me your number one insight for transitioning from being a passive investor to an active investor.
The number one insight, I'll say when you transition from one to the other, you will see a lot better tax depreciation, right? When you get that rep status, the real estate professional status, your depreciation just goes through the roof. compared to when you are only a passive investor. But on top of that, you get to really dig deep on how the deals are done. And it gives you an opportunity to look at LP deals differently. You will be a better passive investor when you become more active of an investor.
I love it, man. I love it. All right. You are in Lake Tahoe and lots of great stuff there to do. I'm not sure about the restaurants. So give me your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
There's a really cool place down the street called Tahoe Tavern. They have really good food. It's not too busy. It's a lot of places the locals go. And a lot of people from out of town, when they look it up, they'll see it. It's a few blocks away from the hotel, so it's not too crazy. There's always great parking, great food. We usually go paddle boarding and go grab a bite over there.
Nice. Tahoe Tavern it is. Alex, you gave us a lot of great information today. I loved hearing about your journey coming from the medical field, starting first as a passive investor, going from your single family rental where you're making $100 on $100,000 down payment to 4Xing that as an LP investor, and then learning how to just be a better LP, transitioning to the active side of being a general partner with over 300 units in your portfolio today, and just giving us some tips and tools of how you analyze deals, opportunities, and vetting sponsors and operators for investment opportunities. Again, if folks want to learn more and see what it's like to work with you, they can check out zephyrequitygroup.com. Alex, thanks again for being a great guest and coming on Multifamily Insights. We look forward to staying in touch with you, and I hope you have a great day.
John, thank you for having me. You do the same.